joining us on a school night. That's how I always think of it. I think one of the most proud designations that I get to hold this year is being the chair of Georgia's first ever legislative AAPI caucus. We have 11 AAPI legislators in the Georgia State Legislature this year, making us one of the largest Asian American caucuses in the continental U.S. And really the reason that we decided to form an AAPI caucus and the reason we thought it was important to elect this critical number of Asian legislators is for moments like this, is to catch bills like this and to be able to do essentially hand-to-hand combat in the legislature to defeat bills like this, right? Because I think that when you don't come from the backgrounds that we do, and you don't maybe have the kind of experience that leads you to interpret bills the way that we're talking about them, that it might sound pretty good, right? Like, oh, this is a bill that prevents hostile foreign powers from buying up all our farmland and controlling our food supply. That's how they're framing it. To some people that might sound pretty good, right? But from people who have backgrounds like us, who come from immigrant communities, have immigrant families, and can see the discriminatory effect of this bill, that's when we jump into action. And that's when we're able to talk to all of the other lawmakers to point out all the weaknesses and all the flaws and all the, maybe, to be fair to them, maybe unintended consequences of a bill like this to ultimately defeat it. Now, we've seen versions of this bill, as we noted, in other states. Texas tried to pass a version of this bill that was roundly defeated because of groups like this, that Asian American activists in the community, many of them Republican, were able to fight against this bill, point out its flaws, and kill it in Texas, which is, as we know, an extremely conservative state. Florida did manage to pass a version of an alien land law bill. Thanks, Governor DeSantis, cool guy. But that bill was immediately enjoined or paused in the courts. And it's been recently enjoined to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which is in Atlanta, and which is the exact same court that these shitty bills are going to go to if they try to pass them, because they have the exact same problems. They're exactly violating federal law in the exact same way. And that's where they'll end up. So our job right now, both as legislators and as community members, is to do what our friends in Texas were able to do what our friends in Florida were able to do, and put Georgia as the next chapter to the story of where the Asian American community is coming together, showing people that we are a force to be reckoned with, showing us that we have power, that we have agency, and that we can defeat bad bills and promote good bills for our community. So here's what I need you to do, okay? Because it's always nice to talk about these issues and the ideas behind them and why they're bad, but it's also good to have an assignment, right? Here's how we're going to kill these bills. So we mentioned that the House version of the bill, I'm going to tell you the number, okay? It's HB, that means House Bill 1093. HB 1093. That's the bill that's the furthest along. And what that means is that it is in a point in the legislative process. Has anyone watched like Schoolhouse Rock where the bill's like going through the thing? And it's like so sad. Anyway, so this bill is at the point where it's about to be put on the calendar to be voted on the House floor. The House floor is like probably the one you've seen on TV, the very like grand chamber where people push the button and it's red or green. So that's a very important step. We would like to kill it before it comes to vote, because that is the easiest way for everyone involved, including Republicans, to kill it, okay? So what you're gonna do is you are going to pick up your little QR codes and all the little handouts on the table. You are gonna click the QR code and you are going to email or call or text or come to the Capitol and talk to your legislators and tell them exactly what we've been talking about, that these bills, despite having a national security sentiment, actually has these unintended consequences that are both illegal and discriminatory for Asian voters like all of you in Georgia, right? And remind them that Asian voters are paying attention and Asian voters vote, okay? So the two things I would say is, one, it violates the Federal Fair Housing Act, as we've heard. The second thing is it actually has a very bad effect on our state's economy, right? Because we just touted that we have very good foreign export numbers. It's great for business. Republicans love business. Passing this bill would actually have a huge and crippling effect on our trade and on our economy. So emphasize that to them, okay? We need you guys to do this. We in the legislature, me and Long, Sam, Park, Marvin Lim, we're kind of like working the room and making sure that everyone knows about this bill, but we need the volume and the numbers of people, Georgians, voters, constituents of all these legislators, to help us kill this bill. We really appreciate it. It makes a difference. So let's be the next chapter in the story. Just like Texas, just like Florida, and Georgia's going to kill this bill too. Thank you all for your help.